CRN TV is connecting you with the industry leaders who are protecting us from the latest security threats. Join me, Cass Cooper, as we highlight the expertise of women who are driving innovation and solving today's toughest cyber challenges. Welcome to Channel Women in Security. Welcome, everyone. I am here with the amazing Lori Cornmesser. Lori, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm just excited that you were willing to come on and talk with us. You have such a wealth of knowledge and have been a channel chief for most of your career, and you're on the Power 100 for CRN. And I'm just really excited to spend this time with you, and hope our audience I know they will get a lot from you in your expertise. So
Thank you.
of course. So let's start with that wealth of knowledge. So you have experience in channel recruitment, development, management. What aspects of your background are you drawing on to shape the partner experience at 1Password?
Yeah, I think that there are several things that you learn over the years. What I'm bringing to the 1Password piece is getting the right partners in the right places and doing the right things. And that is starting with understanding our ideal partner profile and how that really aligns to the customer segments that we're trying to serve. You know, I'm always a big believer in driving lift for the company. How are we getting partners to position themselves to win in places that our sellers are not? How can we create joint partnerships that get us into new markets together where we can win together? So a lot of that is just spreading out the pieces of the puzzle and picking up the right pieces of the puzzle based on the picture that we now want to create.
So let's talk about 1Password's mission for digital security. You know, we're here to talk about channel women in security. So what specific approaches are you bringing as a legacy channel chief to ensure that the ecosystem meets cybersecurity's demands?
Yeah. So, you know, if to answer that, you have to understand a little bit more about 1Password, right? It kind of started as this password manager. They now have really evolved into this multi-product identity security company. And really the tagline is they can secure every sign-in to every app for every device, even the unmanaged apps and the devices that can't easily be secured by other vendors in this space. I think what we're seeing is that there is a growing and continued change in the hybrid work environment. And as it relates to that, it really has fundamentally changed the way that we need to think about working, boosting productivity, really embracing the flexibility of this modern workplace, right? We're a 100% remote organization as it stands. And so what that is doing is it's leaving a lot of businesses to vulnerabilities, data breaches, unauthorized access, right? And so what does this mean for our partner community? It means that there are many opportunities to not only be a user of 1Password, but when you think about how we've now embraced new products like Extended Access Management Platform, which is called XAM, we released that earlier this year, but what it basically does is really extends the security to the unmanaged applications that we talked about, driving more into devices, into having that protection in those hybrid environments. So a lot of the other vendors in this space just can't do that. So as we're thinking about who the partners are that we want to go to market with and making sure that it aligns to the things that they're selling to their customers, how does it fit into the solutions that they're bringing to market? How can we make those stronger, more secure, more trusted by our joint customers together?
Yeah, you know, we hear a lot, you know, as someone who works virtually as well, you know, my device, I want to be able to log in and be able to work from my phone if I need to. Part of the hybrid model of being able to go and pick up my kid in the middle of the day if I need to. And that does create a certain level of vulnerability for our data generally, because I want to work from my phone. I want to work remotely and I want to maintain that. But having one centralized space for the applications that are not controlled by my organization seems like such a great great win for everybody and for the partners overall.
Absolutely. Here's what I'll tell you. I had used 1Password as a customer years, like years ago. So it is a very trusted brand. I mean, we're trusted by over 150,000 businesses, right? Think of companies like Atari or Canva or Golden State Warrior, Go Dubs, right? That's local to me. Hitachi Solutions, Stripe, Salesforce, Under Armour. I know I'm missing some, but millions and millions of consumers worldwide kind of trust us with that.
Yeah. So, you have such a great record with building successful go-to-market strategies. What are you most excited about bringing to partners as that go-to-market um network within our ecosystem?
Without a doubt, I'm a big believer in really understanding what it takes to be the vendor of choice. Like, what are the things sort of preventing us from winning their business today? And I went on a bit of a listening tour with our current partners. I had some conversations with partners that we want to get invested in. And a lot of it just boils down to the good news is nothing product related. Everything was the product works as advertised, love it. I'm an individual user. I just need to now figure out how to get this, as part of the things that we're bringing to the solutions. But we need simplicity. We need simplicity in our program, simplicity in your enablement. We need simplicity in the ways that you're thinking about how to activate us behind your solution and integrate us into that. So, that'll be some of the things that I bring, right? Some of the simple things that become very impactful to partners around understanding the program, understanding the attributes of how to sell and close the business, and changing attributes around deal registration, and including things like renewal incumbency, those kinds of things. So lots of great things on the forefront for sure.
So, on your listening tour with the partners, what are some of the things about security and securing digital environments that you were hearing that they're concerned about?
Well, they're concerned that the customers' requirements are getting more complex. The hackers are getting more advanced. And so this is absolutely a place where you've got to stay on top of the trends. What is driving what's happening? Who are the best solutions out there, trusted solutions like 1Password out there? The other big thing is really around we still have a labor shortage, right? I mean, we have a lot of we have that. I think I would say for the past couple years we've had a labor shortage in cybersecurity, and I think I was reading somewhere in 2025 they're talking about 3.5 million unfilled positions. So there's still this unfilled position and labor shortage, but there's also a talent, shortage as well. So how are they, planning to fill those things?
Yeah, so I love that actually throws back to one of our episodes that we had previously with Tanisha from Black Girls Hack, and really filling in that skills gap and that tech equity gap is what their organization as a nonprofit is all about. So for any of our listeners, if you have not listened to that episode, I highly suggest going back and listening to it and really looking at ways that organizations like Black Girls Hack are driving that gap, because I think we don't always think about what I hear from solution providers and MSSPs, that I need to fill these spaces, but we're not thinking about how we're going to create a pipeline starting younger. And so it's great to know that that's something that people are thinking about, and it's on 1Password's
Yeah.
idea as well.
Absolutely. The biggest sort of call out of that, or one of the biggest call outs, is really the impact, right? I mean, there was a Gartner article that, basically talked about in 2025, the fact that there's going to be a lack of this cybersecurity talent. That's also going to be the cause of a lot of major cyber incidents. Yeah, it should be on the list of everyone to kind of say, we understand that cyber threats are going to become more complicated. The threat landscape then becomes more complicated, but the impact on those incidents in terms of having this labor and skill shortage is real.
Yeah. So let's talk about like SaaS and cloud native models, right? When it comes to security. So like they're really reshaping the way that we are doing business and way the ecosystem is moving forward. So how do you plan to navigate those shifts within the channel ecosystem as it pertains to 1Password?
Yeah, I think a lot of what is shifting in the SaaS and cloud models is that they are demanding more value-based programs. So what is coming into play is the traditional tiered programs can be viewed as outdated. How do you get to more of a points-based system, which you're seeing a lot of vendors kind of move to? How do you start to create incentives for different roles that the partner's playing, for hunted opportunities versus where there's more of an assisted or a transacted? You're going to see things like, renewals be questioned about the role that partners are playing in the renewal and their ability to cross-sell and upsell opportunities. So I think a lot is changing, not only from, programmatic standpoint, but also the ways that we incentivize that behavior, will also, take shape differently as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you consider being the most critical elements for partners um right now? Like that's always been a hallmark of your career, building those critical infrastructures. So what do you see on the horizon as being more critical, or maybe something that you know to be true and need to be a evangelist about in our ecosystem?
Yeah, I think, when you're coming in to a company like 1Password, well-trusted brand, solving real customer issues, really taking a leadership position in this space and having some dependency on the channel, you kind of have the magic elements. Now it's just about lining those pieces up. So I think the biggest part that we will bring is looking at things through the lens of the partner in everything that we do, right? The program, the enablement, the activation behind things relative to, is this helping the partner understand how to position us, sell us, close business? Those kinds of things are super important. And so we'll continue to do that. And, I'm sitting here 6 weeks in the job. I'm in my 6th week here. So I'm sure that there's a lot to come and a lot that we'll continue to kind of update you on as we kind of get into it. But right now, I feel very confident that we're laying down the right pieces of the puzzle and connecting some new pieces of that. But simple, and making sure that it's focused on the right set of things, right?
Yeah. So, knowing you, we do have a close relationship personally, and I am so glad that you are lending your time again to talking to us. But it would not be I would not be using this as, let me rephrase that. Knowing you as well as I do, Lori, I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to talk to you about equity and inclusion in our ecosystem. That is something that you and I both are very passionate about. This whole series is meant to amplify women inside of cybersecurity and the channel, not because we are women here, but because we are experts in our space. So tell me a little bit about how equity and inclusion is leaning things forward and how you're going to continue that passion in the future.
Well, it's a passion that I have, and it's what I live like you do every day in the work environment. And again, another reason that I chose 1Password, great company and great efforts already in play around this effort. But I will just tell you all the things that we have been talking about in terms of skill shortage and cybersecurity. There's still women that are not fully represented here. There are a lot of minorities, people of color that are not represented here. So when we talk about this shortage, use that as opportunity. I tell people all the time, like, step into that. And sometimes people don't know what that means, right? I mean, there are only, again, I know everybody hates the data and the statistics sometimes because it makes it more real, but let me just tell you, only 25% of the jobs globally are held by women. Like, that's just a stat that's out there. And so that means there's a lot of opportunity for you to make sure that we're doing the right things in our company. And it's important to do not only from just being a good human, but our customers are looking to us to make sure that we align culturally. Our partners now are looking to us to make sure that we align sort of culturally in this effort. You're going to now see, I see now on LinkedIn a lot of partner and vendor events that are focused around DE&I efforts. Like, let's go do this, thing together, which is really, really cool. But I think that the reminder here is for women and people of color that don't be afraid of getting invested in this part of the industry. We just talked about the fact that there's a labor shortage. So, raise your hand. How do you, do that? Well, reach out to somebody that has that job, understand what they've done, understand where they might know, some companies have great programs to get people up to speed without having all the degrees in place, right? And so there's a lot of ways to take and capture opportunities. I think the biggest thing is don't wait for somebody to tap you on the shoulder. I never did throughout my entire career. I kind of created my own moments. Thankfully, I had really cool people along the way that kind of supported that. I'm not saying I did that by myself, but what I am saying is don't sit back and watch this news. Like, make sure you're tapping people, that you're creating some energy, you're understanding where you might be able to play in this. So take full advantage of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything that our audience needs to know about you or your history? I would love you to just give us maybe like some words of wisdom that we can share with our audience.
Yeah, I guess words of wisdom. I think the words of wisdom are always, stay curious. I'm still learning. After 28 years in this business, my dad used to say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I continue to learn. And, 1Password, I'm still learning. I'm learning a new space. I'm learning new business, learning new people, learning new partners. And it's exciting and fun. Don't always feel like just because you've been doing it for a while, that you still can't be taught some new things. So that's what I'd say. Stay curious and stay excited behind the things that you're doing.
Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in person one of these days. But until then, I'll see you all online.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Channel Women in Security from CRN TV. Be sure to subscribe for more stories from the women who are shaping cybersecurity, breaking barriers, and making their mark on the channel ecosystem.